Welcome to another audio commentary. Today's audio commentary is Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. This is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie of all time, so let's see what we can do. Set your counter on your DVD to 0, and when I say go, then hit play. 3, 2, 1, go. We've got the original New Line Cinema logo here. It would be changed later on. Sleep, those little slices of death, how I loaf them. Edgar Allan Poe. Now, when this movie was originally released on VHS, it was released by Media Home Entertainment, and then I think Video Treasures also released it. And around 1999, when the DVD box set came out, there was also a VHS box set, but the VHS box set changed the music that you're going to hear on the stereo here in a few minutes. Larry Fishburne is actually Lawrence Fishburne, but he was going by Larry in this movie for some reason. And this movie has Patricia Arquette, which is David Arquette's brother. John Saxon came back from the first one to be in this one. We also got Heather Langenkamp back, and of course Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. There's Patricia Arquette right there, or Arquette, ever how you say her name. Kevin Yeager doing the makeup effects on this one. He was great at doing the Freddy effects, actually. This look of Freddy is probably my favorite look of Freddy. As I said, the third movie is the best in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Wes Craven executive produced this one. He didn't have anything to do with part 2. We got some rockin' dockin' playing there, dockin' with Into the Fire. In the VHS release, this song was changed. Into the fire, I'm falling. Hopefully y'all still are in sync. I tried to do that to keep y'all in sync. So apparently past 1 is a long time to be awake. I stay up like all night. That was Robert Englund doing that voice there that you heard from downstairs. Typical parents do not believe anything that their kids say. That is quite apparent in this scene where Kristen's mom did not want to hear anything her daughter said about nightmares. Apparently, she made a paper mache uh, replica of the 1428 M Street house where Nancy lived, and also where Freddie lived. One thing about Nightmare on Elm Street movies is the music was always pretty good. So apparently now Kristen has entered the dream world. These kids are creepy. They remind me of the kids that you would see in Children of the Corn or something. We got the little girl on the tricycle there. She just said Kirsten, which is probably a flub because they call her Kristen in the movie. So why did she just say her name was Kirsten? Horror Movie 101. Never follow a creepy little girl into a house that the house is creepy. Pretty good work there in the art department with the skulls in the furnace. I love this piece of music in the movie. And the way this movie plays with the shadows and stuff is awesome as well. Apparently, she's caught in chocolate pudding. That chocolate pudding, man, I tell you. Just the way that they made this place look all decrepit is great. So Freddy hung his victims up. And she turned into a skull. A skeleton, for that matter. Now Kirsten's realizing it was all just a nightmare. Great effects here in this scene. So it was made to look like that Kristen tried to commit suicide. Now here's Weston Hills Psychiatric Hospital. Weston Hills would make a comeback in Freddy vs. Jason. Now here's Larry Fishburne, but everybody will know him as Lawrence Fishburne. Good theory there. This is Taryn. I like that she's wearing a Dawkins shirt, which is the cover of the album Tooth and Nail. So apparently Jennifer burns herself with cigarettes to keep herself awake. Now this is my favorite character of the movie. This is Roland Kincaid. That's always what the parents say, that when the kid acts out, he's trying to get attention. Of course, if you was having nightmares, would you want to be sedated? A kick to the balls. I just hope that scalpel was clean. If not, then Lawrence Fishburne just got some kind of disease. And here is Heather Langenkamp back as Nancy. You'll remember Nancy from the first movie. The first movie? Huh. As I mentioned earlier, Part 3 is my favorite movie. A lot of people were all, the first one's the best. No, I did not care much for the first one. I preferred this one being my top favorite, with another one that people thought that sucked. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare being my second favorite. I did not care much for the first one. Part 2 was okay. Part 4 was okay. And Part 5 was okay. My top 3 favorite Freddy movies are this one, Freddy's Dead, and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. $0.25? Thought it was going to be 50 cents with a nickel back. So Michael Myers is in this movie? What the fuck? Now we got the strange nun woman that keeps making random appearances throughout the movie. Hopefully we will figure out who this nun woman is. She's like a ghost or some shit. Or maybe the doctor's just high. Now we get introduced to some of the patients. I love Kincaid. Kincaid's my favorite character. Ken Sagos played Kincaid in this movie. I'd love to see him at some kind of horror con, like um, they have all these horror cons where they show up. I met Robert England at Scarefest in Lexington last year, and I would have 10 times rather have met Kincaid. Now, this kid here is played by Rodney Eastman. This is Joey. Joey is pretty much a mute. He don't talk. And that's a nice teardrop tattoo he has there. So now the mom is pissed off that she's spending so much money on psychiatrists and just thinks that Kristen is crazy. But Nancy knows that deep down that Kristen is not crazy. Because Nancy went through the same shit. It's like in the first movie when Nancy's mom locked her in the house and wouldn't let her out. I've held a grudge since this day. And even though the character who played Nancy's mom in the first one was just playing a character, I still am holding a grudge against her for locking her in the house. And I am holding a grudge against this woman who played Kirsten's mom, because she called herself Kirsten, which does not make any sense. It's like her name changes throughout the movie. Kristen called herself Kirsten at the beginning, and then they call her Kristen and this and that and the other. And I hold a grudge against her for not believing what her daughter said. Not sure if this is an old Commodore 64 or what, but this is an old computer and a noisy one at that. Now, a Hypnosil is for the suppression of night terrors, which is nightmares. And they would be talks about Hypnosil and Freddy vs. Jason, which goes to show that this movie was the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie to incorporate Hypnosil and Freddy vs. Jason. Well, she's a good artist. She's drifting off to sleep here. And here we've got another creepy scene coming up. A bicycle that moves on its own, leaving blood trails. creepy. Also, in earlier movies, Freddy was just a child murderer, and they changed his storyline throughout the movies to be a child murderer molester. Kirsten is in the nightmare world again here in Freddy's house, and this was actually a real pig that they used for this scene. A real dead pig, and it stank to high heaven. Flies buzzing noise is a nice touch. The music in this movie, it just adds to the tension. Kind of like a Tremors effect there, with the thing traveling under the floor and all that. Now, what was that thing is what I want to know. And we find out it's a big Freddy head snake, which kind of looks like a penis to me. Very phallic. So Nancy can hear her thoughts. So apparently Nancy can go into the dreams in this one. You. This was a hard scene for him to shoot with the animatronic Freddy snake thing. That's what I call it because it was never revealed what it was, and Nancy got hurt in the dreams, so she knows that it's real. So Kristen has the gift of dragging people into her dreams, which was pretty much in the first one. Granted, Nancy and Glenn were both still asleep, but Nancy had the ability to kindly do that too. Now we get introduced to the rest of the group. And I've never seen this girl in any other movies. I love Kincaid's cockiness in this scene. Oh, great. Dick, it's killing me. Yeah, Kincaid is funny. He's awesome. And basically, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons here or something similar. They're actually playing a game called Wizard Master. Didn't be gone. Now, people might be thinking, is the guy who plays Will really um, handicapped? But no, he's not. But he pulls the role off good, I think. So basically, this is sleep during a team effort. Joey's going to have to wake Will up if he sees him struggling or anything. Springwood is a fictional town, but I think that they're instead of Springfield, Illinois, it's supposed to be Springwood, Illinois. So it's a fictional town. So Nancy's trying to convince the doctor here, Neil, that Hypnosil could be more of a help than harmful, even though it's not been clinically tested and stuff. But he does not want to believe it. Here we have a great stop motion scene. And the way this scene was accomplished is they showed it in reverse, meaning the face was fully done and then they slowly messed it up back to the clay. Then they reversed it. This has to be one of the goriest scenes in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And when you watch this on TV, well, I've not seen it on TV in a while, but they dramatically cut this scene. And a stroll, asshole. So Kincaid just thinks that Philip is sleepwalking. But yeah, they dramatically cut this scene when they show it on TV because of the gore. They semi-leave that scene there in, but you don't see it for that long. And you can tell he's in the dream because he walked through the wall. Well, the door there. So now Joey's trying to get help. Now Joey's waking everyone up. Since he can't talk, this is the best way to do it. Brilliant scene here. Freddy's cut the marionette strings. Now here's a great scene with Kincaid here, so I'm going to be quiet through this. Bastard murdered him. Fuck you. You sit down. So basically, like I said, I don't like this this bitch of a doctor. REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, for people who didn't know what REM sleep was. So he's agreed to do the hypnosil. Nancy's the one that knows the most. Ain't gonna dream no more. They're watching Critters on the TV, another New Line Cinema movie that was released in 1986, a year before this one was released, but they was shooting this one in 86, so it makes perfect sense. Max is sympathetic here. So he thought he was going to get laid by getting her high. He was sadly mistaken. So she's about to fall asleep here, so she's resorting to burning herself with cigarettes. And look at that remote on that TV. You don't see remotes like that anymore. Now here's Zsa Zsa Gabor and Dick Cavett. Now it's apparent that she's dreaming. Coming up, we get one of the best catchphrase lines from any Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Robert Englund signs this one. When he does autographs, I actually have an autograph picture that Robert Englund autographed with this line on it. right here. Interesting kill there. But yeah, Robert England signs that line a lot when he does autographs because that seems to be everybody's favorite Robert England catchphrase line. Another one is "How sweet fresh meat," which was in the fourth movie, and then there was a variation of the line "How sweet fresh meat" in the fifth movie, but it was "How sweet dark meat." Now we have the nun has showed up again here in this scene. So the nun's name is Mary Helena. So only he can see the nun, I guess. So is he going crazy or what? We'll have to find out as the movie progresses. But seems to be that Neil is the only one that sees the nun. My chair is extremely noisy. Oh. Like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, there was a bunch of stuff that really didn't make much sense. So I agree with Neil there. See, in this one it says he's a child murderer. In later ones, it changes to child murderer, child rapist. This is kids are responsible for the sins of the father thing. So where the parents of M Street killed him, then the kids have to pay for it. Sound like Peter Pan. Actually, I do. He's trying to hypnotize me as well. So I need to kind of keep myself talking to stay awake. Because this scene is so somber and calming with that pendulum swinging back and forth, it would actually want to put you to sleep. Coming up is another scene that was changed for the TV version. Joey's had the hots for the nurse, so he's going to go follow her now. Nurse was hot. I can't remember who played the nurse, but she was hot. I would have sex with the nurse. Any guy in his right mind would. Why, yes, I really like you a lot. Now they know that they're in the dream world. Now it's the big reveal of their dream powers. And bad. I would be very, very quiet. Now, this scene in the TV version is different here, and I'll explain it. As you see in this scene, you see some pretty tits. She has a bra on in the TV version, and also it don't show her complete ass like it does here, which she has a nice ass too. But all dreams turn to nightmares, as you see here. Somehow their tongues got fused together.
What's wrong, Joey? Feeling tongue-tied?
So Joey's hanging over the pits of hell. Just to go to show you that sex is a sin. Now, the way they would do this today is they would have something green underneath him and do green screen. I don't know if that's the way they done it back then, but that's the way they would do it today. So the room is pretty much turning into the Kruger house. So they're being blamed for the fact that Joey is in a coma. So in other words, they both was fired. And I guess this is the cleaning out his desk routine. Got all of his stuff there in those boxes. He's remembering Philip and Jennifer, who are now dead and gone, with that picture. And he sees the mysterious nun again, whose name is Mary Helena, apparently. Breaking a lock with a rock. I don't know of anything other than a movie that would work in. It would take a lot more to break a lock than break it with a rock. Apparently, pigeons is living in this part of the Weston Hills Hospital. We've made it over halfway through this movie already. Just thought that I would let people know. Ollie Ollie Oxenfree, come out. At the sound of the beep, the time of the movie will be 57 minutes. Beep. So the plot thickens. Hundred maniacs. Now there's an interesting scene. It's either in part 4 or 5 where it actually Alice is Amanda Kruger's character and is locked in the asylum with all those crazy people. And Robert Englund plays one of the patients out of the Freddy makeup. Which basically what she meant with that line is if you have no belief in God and no beliefs in anything religious and science is the only thing you follow, then you're done and doomed. Here's a neat little scene. Come and get him, bitch. So Freddy is using Joey as a bargaining chip there in that scene. He's basically called Nancy out, and Nancy's got to make a choice if she wants to face Freddy one final time. I wonder who that one man is. Yeah, hit that bitch. Yeah, I'm glad Nancy called her a stupid bitch because that's what I felt from the start of the movie. She's a stupid bitch, and all she's doing is killing them. Now we have this bar apparently called Little Nemo's. And look who it is. John Saxon reprising his role from the first movie, and apparently he's still not the sheriff. He works for a security company now. So John Saxon's character has apparently become an alcoholic since all the events from the first movie. The whole thing where it says "you owe me" is she owes him. He owes her because he didn't show up when he was supposed to, and she almost got killed by Freddy in the first movie. Payphones, don't you miss those folks? I miss payphones. It's at this point that Neil has kind of fell in love with Nancy, as you can tell from that scene, telling her to be careful. It's just that look in his eyes. Now we got to see how Neil's going to deal with Nancy's father. So, um, they have to find Freddy's remains in order to stop his reign of terror. Now, this would be a scary scene if Freddy was really getting you in your nightmares in real life, especially when you was fighting to stay awake. That's great. Just pour alcohol out on the steps of a church. So he wanted the liquor bottle to get holy water. I guess they bless the water or something that makes it holy. So he gives the priest his driver's license because I guess he's broke as a joke like everybody else. Well, Nancy's finally arrived at Westing Hills. So hopefully Kristen has a plan here, and Nancy has a plan. So they're going to do the last group. Well, apparently now Neil and Nancy's dad has arrived at what appears to be an old junkyard. Penny Brothers Auto Salvage. At first I thought it said Pennywise. I'm like, now they're bringing Stephen King into this. And apparently drives a Nissan. Let's go kick the motherfucker's ass all over Dreamland. One great line from Kincaid right there. Let's go kick the motherfucker's ass all over Dreamland. And another great line that Kincaid says is coming up, and I will point it out after it's said. So they're going to go into the dream and try to help Kristen. There's that pendulum again making me sleepy. I need to get me one of those pendulum things. So they've entered the dream with Kristen finally. And apparently Freddy's tearing this room all to pieces. Into the Fire by Dawkins again. Dawkins also did the theme song to this that plays at the end of the movie, Dream Warriors. Andale.
Andale, andale, Ima, Iba, Iba.
This woman's been watching too much Speedy Gonzales. Robert England's voice again from downstairs.
You listen to your mother.
Now that's a bad effect by today's standards. When you were younger, you didn't notice that, but the whole neck cut deal with amputated head, it just looks so fake now. Now here's Taryn with her dream power, which in her dreams she's beautiful and bad. Old ghetto, I guess you would call it. Now in this scene, in the VHS release, there is a flub, is what I call it, where you can see Freddy's sleeve at the bottom of the screen. On the DVDs, you can't see it. They cropped it off. But the VHS release, the scene is right through here. You see Freddy's sleeve pop up for a second from the bottom of the screen. Freddy, the original anti-drug PSA. Now, during this kill, there was a scene they was working on that, as you see, the whole thing with the veins going up her neck and her face, her head was supposed to explode, and it just didn't work right, so they didn't use it. So Taryn's dead and gone. Now we got Will here. Creepy hallway. Now the question is, what kind of dream power would you people like to have? Leave it in the comments below. Will, tired? Have a seat. It's back in the saddle again. That was a remote controlled wheelchair that they built. I call it the death chair because anything that it could possibly do to you could kill you. Freddy don't know what to think. And Freddie ripped his heart out. Now they need to find their way back to each other. Well, it looks like Nancy and Kristen did, but where's Kincaid? Kincaid and Nancy and Kristen Kristen, whatever you call her, is the only ones that are still alive at this point, except Joey. Joey's trapped by Kruger. And there's Kincaid. What's stopping you? Yeah, that's my favorite line of the whole movie right there. That whole scene right there when Kincaid calls Kruger a pussy. A burnt-faced pussy. Now we have a door to nowhere. We're about to the final confrontation with Freddy here. Let's snuff the sucker. Shit. Would have been better if Kincaid had said at that point, let's kick the motherfucker's ass all over Dreamland. Now we're back to the whole trying to find Freddy's remains scene. Apparently the bones are hidden somewhere in this junkyard. Apparently it's where the parents had hid the bones when they burned him years ago. But if the fire was hot enough, wouldn't it have incinerated the bones? I mean, they burned him in a boiler room, so I guess it didn't get hot enough to burn the bones. So apparently, according to Nancy's dad, the bones is in the back of this red Cadillac. And he's just going to have a smoke like it's just another day. You would think that this shovel would break him trying to pry that Cadillac's trunk open. And there they are, Freddy's bones. So now we're back in the dream world with Nancy and Kincaid and Kristen. They're trying to find Joey. Music sounds like something that you would hear in Africa during a headhunting expedition. And there's Joey. And Kristen, you just ruined it by hollering out Joey, so now Kruger really does know you're there, even if he didn't before. Kruger with the baby doll.
Look, little piggies come home. Your wish is my command.
That looked like a dangerous scene right there. And this don't make no sense. Why didn't Kruger automatically go to attack Nancy? This didn't make no sense. Freddy Krueger's a ninja in this movie. Maybe because it was still that Robert Englund was kind of young and could do this stuff. The look on Kruger's face there. He just pulls it out like it's not nothing. It's like, I got a bigger dick than you. Watch this. So it's revealed now that Freddy gets strength from the souls of the children. And something I noticed a lot about this movie is that seems like when they did the Freddy voice, they would put some kind of filter on it to make it sound more deep and stuff. And there's some parts in the movie, it's clearly just Robert talking, like that last scene in There's Room for More. That's clearly just Robert talking. And then earlier when he said, why should we fight? We're the same, you and me. That was just Robert talking. So apparently Freddy knows that they're trying to find his bones now because Freddy's messing with them. Which I'm sure this was a hard scene to do. Having all the lights going and the engine's trying to turn over and all that. Bury the fucking thing, yeah. Quit wasting fucking time. Now we got some stop motion here, a la Ray Harryhausen style. Which for 1987, this was awesome. Build you want, you son of a bitch. And there goes Nancy's dad. Huh, a little comic relief here. They would use the same stop motion type effects in Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness, aka Evil Dead 3. And that little Freddy's victorious deal there. Well, now they've got Joey and they're all back together in this hall of mirrors. This is a great little scene because we don't know Joey's dream power because it ain't said what Joey's dream power is yet. Great effects in this scene. So apparently that's Joey's dream power. He can scream and talk, I guess, in his dreams. And now Nancy's dad manifests into the dream. There's something very ominous about this scene. And it's Freddy. He took the disguise of Nancy's father. Neil, get your ass up and finish this. You're mine now, piggy. No, looks like Nancy's got you killed pretty much, Kruger. If Neil just get his ass up here and finish this ritual thing. Weird how all those bones are hanging together like they was on string or some shit. And Freddy's out of there. Nancy lived long enough to see that Freddy was defeated. Did you all notice that? So we've reached the final moments of this film. Nobody wanted to see Nancy die in this movie, but that's just the way it happened. And Neil's still seeing the nun. So he's going to follow her again here. So Amanda Kruger was his mother. So Sister Mary Helena was Amanda Kruger all alone. Now pretty much everything is over with, folks. I hope you enjoyed listening to me rant a little bit about this movie. As I said, it's my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie that's ever been made to this date. Final jump scare there. Now we have the great Dawkins song, Dream Warriors. This song is probably the most popular song that Dawkins has, being released on the Back for the Attack or Back from the Attack. I can't remember if it was Back for or Back from the Attack album. Also, there was an EP released that had the cover of the Dream Warriors movie poster on it. And, yeah, this was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I give this movie 4.5 stars out of 5. There is some things that should have been changed, but other than that, this is the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie, in my opinion, that's been made to date. Even rivals Freddy versus Jason, which people will argue that Freddy won that, and people will argue that Jason won that. Technically, nobody won that. It was a draw. But that's the end of this commentary, so you all can keep listening to this amazing song as long as you want to, but that's the end of this commentary. Hope you enjoyed sitting in here with me and hearing what I thought about Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, released in 1987 by New Line Cinema. So until next time, you all have a great day, night, whenever you're watching this, and hopefully you found some of this interesting. But, word of advice, don't stop your DVD now. Just keep listening to this great Dawkins song. Later.